Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Meddkit channel. We are doing our provider spotlight series. We are super excited. This is something that we have done over the summer, and we really wanted to do something special for private practices. We know that everyone has struggled differently during the COVID-19 pandemic, and we really wanted to show our support. So we started this interview series to tell their unique stories and also share their knowledge. So today we have Dr. Ruppenicker as our guest. She is amazing. She is highly trained, licensed, and has a wealth of experience under her belt. I read her 8-page working history, and honestly, how do you accurately describe such a distinguished woman in 30 seconds? I don't know, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. And to give my very short synopsis, Dr. Ruppenicker has 20 years experience working as a licensed mental health provider. She's an owner of a solo practice since 2005. She's experienced in provision of psychotherapy to children, adolescents, young adults, adults, and seniors. She's skilled in cognitive behavioral therapy, and she has the expertise in the treatment of anxiety, mood disorders, OCD, and body-focused repetitive behaviors. She's also spent 12 years working as a gender specialist with transgender people and GLBTQ issues. Honestly, that's just the half of it. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Ruppenicker.
Well, hi, Rachel. It's a pleasure to speak with you today.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. I know we have a lot to cover, so let's get started. Tell us, how did you get into your specialty?
Well, that is, I am so glad you asked. And for many years, I've been passionate about treating people who have suffered with anxiety disorders. And I worked with many people over the years. And very occasionally, I would find that I was working with someone where the treatment didn't work. They weren't making progress. And I didn't know why. And I came to identify that there are some people who their anxiety is a specific type of anxiety called obsessive compulsive disorder. And I actually, many years ago, I had a family reach out for help because their child was just really suffering with terrible anxiety and worries and wasn't able to function at school or at home. And it prompted me to really do a lot of research into what specific treatments were available for people with OCD. And I basically started to teach myself how to implement those treatment strategies and was able to adapt and work with this young man and his family. And it was very rewarding. And really, over the course of almost a year, I saw him in treatment, and we did the evidence-based treatment for OCD, which is called exposure with response prevention, or as I like to refer to it, ERP. Yes, ERP your way to a new way of life. But I know. So after working with him and really seeing the powerful effect that this treatment modality had on his life, I sought out some pretty special focused training on ERP from absolute experts in the field. And that was back in 2012. And I can tell you that what I did that took a year, I now do in about 6 to 8 sessions. So it has really changed the type of practice that I do. And over the past 8 years, I've really more and more of my private practice is focused on helping people with OCD get better.
I love that. Coming from a really good place in your heart to get this started. So I love that. So what prompts people to call you? I know you mentioned some key words there, but what gets people to call you?
Well, I would say it's, if I say in general, it's really the human experience of suffering. Um, Suffering and wanting things to be different for oneself. I think that's what I find, that suffering motivates us. And if it motivates you to reach out to a mental health professional, I think that's a good place to start.
Hmm, I love that. That was such a simple but yet very true answer. Yes. So, what areas do you specifically treat and address the most? I know you mentioned OCD, but is there must be, I read 8 pages, so there's you got a lot.
Oh, well, over the years, different things, people come in to ask me for help. And if I realize that I am, deficient, I look to refer people to other providers. And because I'm in a rural area, sometimes there just isn't that availability. And so I really do my best to step up to the plate where I can and learn more and adapt my knowledge bases. So I've done that with some other areas like the gender, becoming a gender specialist. I had a lot of teenagers who were bringing forth, some um, frustration and not being comfortable with the biological body that they were born into. And 10, 15 years ago, there just wasn't a lot of recognition of transgender identity. And so that was something that I really focused on learning a lot about so that I could help people that find the right path for them in their life. And that's also been true with the body focused repetitive behaviors. I think that's something that maybe people are unfamiliar with, but body focused repetitive behaviors are hair pulling, so trichotillomania, and also skin picking, which its full name is dermatillomania. And these can be conditions that are extremely painful for people. And there are good treatments out there for them. So that was something that, seeing that need in my area, I sought specific training for that, same as I did with OCD.
That's really amazing. So how it seems like that's a really difficult area to enter. So how do you treat folks with, OCD or repetitive behaviors? How do
Well, we are living in an amazing era where the amount of research that the field of psychology has gathered over the years is really borne incredible fruit. And there are very well researched, evidence based studies that show that ERP is a highly effective treatment for people with OCD. And some of the interesting statistics, it can be about 14 years on average for a person who struggles with OCD to actually receive an accurate diagnosis and treatment. So I've had the you know experience of having people who have been released from intensive hospital programs, or they've suffered all their lives with these conditions, and I'm like, well, we'll treat it. and in 6 months or, 20 sessions, you're going to be good to go. And that's that is an amazing thing. Um, I highly recommend for anybody out there listening who knows someone or thinks that they might have some kind of obsessive or compulsive behavior, or that they go to the International OCD Foundation website. There is a wealth of information out there. As for the body focused repetitive behaviors, also really good treatment models out there. And the treatment model that I think is fabulous is called combination behavioral, but COMB for short. Isn't that cute? And that is a really, short-term treatment that people can change these behaviors with the tools that they gain in treatment. So it's very powerful.
Yeah,
And
so
for
nice
me,
to be a
for
bright
me,
spot for people.
oh, absolutely. For me, the most rewarding thing is when I see people get better. And I'm like, the way I define success is to become obsolete.
Hmm.
That's what I love. You don't need me anymore. Go live your life.
That's so great. So I know, speaking of, different therapies and how you've been conducting them, I'm sure during the pandemic it has looked very different for you. So tell me what your experience with telehealth and telemedicine was like.
Sure. So previous to the pandemic, I was always an in-person psychologist. And as of March 13th, Friday the 13th, looking at numbers in Connecticut, I said, I cannot take this risk. I can't put my patients at risk. I need to shut down in person. But obviously, I could not, in good conscience, just stop treatment with people. So I offered phone therapy until we figured it out. And that was, quite frankly, exhausting and not fun. And fortunately, I was able to find a telehealth solution called Jituzu. And it's all HIPAA compliant, encrypted. And I'm able to do sessions over video conferencing. And whether it's next door, down the street, or around the world, I'm able to provide treatment for people in need. It's been very interesting.
That is super cool. I'm glad you had been able to pivot and care for the people that need it. So kudos to you for pivoting. So I know this is a very interesting question, and I think a lot of people would like to know. So how are you maintaining your mental health during the pandemic?
Great question. I like to say to people, I practice what I preach, and I have really focused on gratitude, and I find directing my thoughts to what can I do, right? Who am I as a person? What are my strengths? And what do I have? Those are three really important questions that I think everyone can ask themselves now. And focusing on those things opens up the world of what are the possibilities in front of me. More specifically, back in March, there's a lot of unknown, a lot of stress going on. And I thought, what do I have? What can I do? And I'm like, oh, I have a box of seeds that I've never planted because I never had time to garden. So I took down all the lights in my basement, rigged up a grow system, and I put in a little garden, and I called it my COVID garden. and finally got it in the ground in May. And it's been going gangbusters. So all season long, I've been out there with my zucchinis and tomatoes and tomatillos and peppers and just whatever came up. It really, it did well.
I
It was
love
good for
that.
me.
Well, a little gratitude and a little passion project to take you through the pandemic. I think those are some great tips for the people that are watching. And for the people that are watching, I know we have come to the end of our segment, but for the people that want to reach out to you, let us know whether it's a website, phone number. What is the best way to get in touch with you, Dr. Ruppenicker?
Well, I think the best way is checking out my website. I am at drruppenicker.com. And I think I'll just spell that because my name is so unusual that it's DRRU, P as in Peter, P as in Peter, ENICKER.com.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate all your knowledge today. This has been so great, and we hope to have you again. So thank you so much.
Thank you for asking me, Rachel. It's been a delight.
It's been awesome. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Terrific.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.